What's going on, traders? Welcome to Digital Goats Academy live trading. Well, really, it's live analysis because you can't see my interface. You can only see trading view. But welcome. I'm analyzing the charts right now. So it's 10 a.m. on my side of the world. Obviously, we wanted to wait for like opening bell to happen, but I'm just kind of waiting for the market to play out. I still am bearish for indices if you've been following my videos this week. So I'm just trying to see like how the market is going to react today. And I think that we're going to continue pushing down from post market. So from when the market closed at 5 p.m., I think we're going to continue our trend basically from yesterday. I'm just kind of waiting it out right now. Just focusing on US 30, but I'm looking at its brother and sisters, which they kind of look like they're pulling back to test the current candle that they're looking at. So just to discuss like what happened like yesterday. So yesterday we were looking for a continuation of the downtrend. If you saw weekly review, yeah, if you saw a weekly review and if you saw a market forecast, and you saw that we discussed basically this move up until yesterday because this was the move that carried out like um yeah, post market. This was the move that carried out post market. So we're pretty much hanging out over in this area, which was the 945 candle, yeah, yesterday, which was the 945 candle yesterday. So I annotated that. And again, with my other videos, you've seen me discuss it. So like I said, if you do want more like in-depth information, you have to reach out to me to join my Discord. But using the 945 candle, we can kind of use it as a zone, right? Using it as some form of resistance or some form of support, basically trying to establish what the market is doing. Now, it's not always clear, but if you extend your zone, so like today I marked up the 945 candle, right? And I'm always doing it on a 15-minute time frame. So this was the candle, not like the current candle that's open. This was the candle. It closed, and what I'm waiting on is to see how price reacts in orientation to this zone. So what I do is I extend it out and I scale out and I see how price like reacts to this candle on the 15-minute time frame. You can see that yesterday it kind of did the same thing where it was like buying up and then eventually like it played around inside and outside of that zone. So it pushed high, pushed low, pushed high before actually breaking out and testing back into that zone yesterday. So I'm expecting the same thing. It may not happen the same way, but I'm expecting the market to bounce around this zone and then start to continue selling off. But again, it just looks like market structure at the core of it. The thing that sucks is that because the war has a heavy influence into the market's been stagnant. So normally more moves we would be seeing with like if war wasn't going on, where the market would give you like a clear depiction on what it's trying to do. It's been like stalling out if y'all been paying attention to that. Like it'll start selling or whatever currency pair you're looking at, it'll start buying, and then it'll start stalling out. And then that same candle, it'll start pulling back against, and then bring the same candle on the opposite side. Like very finicky, very chaotic. Well, I wouldn't say chaotic, but like the market's being very stubborn. But I do believe like if we just stay following the trend, we don't have to get all like worked up on these moves that happen in between. So just from what we just saw just now, like I said, I am looking for US 30 and indices across the board to continue selling. So what it looked like just now was that price decided to test like a percentage of this candle. And we can add the Fibonacci tool on that. If you're familiar with that, you know what's going on. If you're not, just think of the Fibonacci tool like a measuring cup, and you're measuring like the percentage that the candle pulled back to. You would have to know these levels, which I'm not going to discuss that. You could do that on your own time. Um, but yeah, like This is pretty much giving us like some form of clarity that the market is only pulling back to this candle and possibly pushing down. We needed to break away, obviously, but just like I said yesterday, just like yesterday, the market played within that zone. So it wasn't until like, what was that, 11 that we got the breakaway. Well, I guess that's the same thing in the next hour. So when you're looking at the 945 candle, don't focus on what the candle is. Only box it in or capture it, whatever word you want to use, and basically see how the market reacts to this. Because as you can see yesterday, after this candle closed, it's not as simple as saying, oh, well, this candle closed bearish, so I should expect a bear move, which in theory, I guess we could say that, but I would need more information to confirm that. What you're doing is just, like I said, using this as a zone. Something that we learned last year was that the 945 candle holds like a lot of significance on what the market is trying to do. It wasn't in this fashion last year, but anytime we like we're confused about the market and the 945 candle like finished closing on the 15 minute, it normally presented us with like I said, clarity on what the market was doing. So it bounced around yesterday, but ultimately the overall trend was a bear market. And that's us staying with the trend from like this move up here. Even though, we may have entered in this area, it still was giving us, the trend downward. So unless price shows us something different, we're gonna have to believe that the trend is still to the downside. Like I said, it's gonna be fighting between this zone. So you can see that in the other indices as well. But again, like with the zones that we've already had like pre-marked up, like it just looks like prices testing these areas in order to push back down. Yeah. Not much to see because the market isn't really moving, so we'll probably see some type of move or some type of indication what it's trying to do around like 11 going into 12. Closer we get to the end of London, that seems to be when the market is stronger. I don't know why. I don't know if there's been like some fight between like New York and London when we're looking at indices, but it's always been seeming like a struggle around this time frame. And then as we approach closer to the end of London or the end of the trading day, then we get what the market is trying to do. It was very frustrating yesterday just to, have the market produce these candles and it seemed very slow. You know what I'm saying? Like these are indices. I'm used to seeing like a candle just straight shoot down, but I do know we're still in Q1. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to expect that the market is going to do these slow, stagnant movements, uh, push back up to the same entry multiple times before pushing off to that area, like basically yesterday and the day before. Like everything's been slow, but like I said, it's been building the trend. This is definitely a bearish pattern. Like if you study the market as meticulously as I do, you know that this is a bearish pattern. The only option is that will price try to test this 945 candle again. But I think that oh, that's what I wanted to show. I actually wanted to show like how I perceive the 945 candle with like prior data, right? So for example, I captured this 945 candle on Monday. This was Monday. That's cool. So this is Monday. This was the candle that was buying up, right? This bought us up. But as you can see, after we broke out of this area, price did what? It pulled back slightly. It didn't pull all the way back in. So I do see an option where the 945 candle, I mean, if it breaks away from the 945 candle, then what normally happens is that price will end up coming back to test it multiple times. And I could show you an example with like the NASDAQ. So any green box you see, that's the 945 candle that I have marked up. And as you can see, like price broke away from it, major moves. Like this was the first one that I drew up. It tested that area, broke away from it, and as you can see, came back to that same area again, tested it, broke away from it. So you can see it in that depiction, like where it will test it. But overall, what you're looking for, no matter what, is for price to be testing it in any fashion. So the reason why I'm on the 15-minute time frame is because when it broke out, you can see that's when price tested this area and then pushed up and pushed us on a bull run until we hit a level of resistance that the market was trying, well, really a previous level of support that the market was trying to target and then pushed us back down. So when I saw like this not this area, I mean this 945 candle where price broke out, kind of tested into it, and then when you back out to a higher time frame, you can see all it did was if you looked at the 945 candle, all price did was break out. And to me, this is the test to test this area until we want to come back again. So, like I said, my expectations is that the market's going to push away from here because this was the pullback in order to test this 945 candle to continue the trend going down. Yeah, nothing flashy today. I wish. Even with news, it's been like a slow process like this. So if you rely solely on like what the candles are doing, yeah, you're definitely going to get manipulated in this market. So the only reliance is like one, the trend, but also how your entry is after opening bell, because we know opening bell definitely brings some confusing arguments, as far as like the visuals of what the market is trying to show you. So as you can see, it's still testing this area, but it's not strongly breaking away. We still have room for the market to pull back. I already like kind of factor that in. I don't rely heavily on the 945 candle. It's just something that I use to kind of, get more I mean be more accurate or kind of understand like what the market is trying to do based off of a zone that I created. My zone isn't going to be like foolproof, but you know. It's still giving me guidance, just like, these other 945 candles or these other zones that I've created. You got to find whatever works for you. So yeah, testing this. We're already at, of this candle, we're already at 78%. So that's a good sign if price rejects it. But I still see the option that price could try to test a portion of this imbalance right here. I'm not looking for it to do that, but room for error, right? But as long as we keep staying below like the high of this area, like price is coming down. It's just being slow about it. What I've been noticing myself, I think that because there's more players in the market, um, within foreign exchange or in the stock market in general, not to mention, but well, I don't even know if war is a factor, but I've noticed that there's more people trading in the world, right? So the market's going to definitely add these like type of moves where it hesitates. It'll show you one thing and, produce something different on the opposite side. So patience is key. Patience is definitely key. Not having FOMO and, what I'm saying, trusting your analysis because it's going to do these moves where you question like, oh man, what is the market doing? The market's not going to do what you wanted to do at the time that you wanted to do it. Like yesterday, I had to wait for this, and trust me, it was frustrating. These are indices, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially like when you're jumping in and then re-entering. Like, yeah, I probably could have held a move from this area because this was our original sell zone. So, like I said, as long as it stay, well, for me, as long as it stays below our sell zone from yesterday, was this yesterday? Yeah, yesterday in the morning. So yeah, I mentioned this to my community. So as long as it stays below our sell zone, like I'm not looking at it. The only option that I have is that we'll probably try to test this 945 candle, but I think we're gonna push away. I think we're gonna push away from this area today, and it's just gonna be a slow process, man. Like I am surprised how the market, you see that? Like I'm surprised how the market is reacting. Now, when you look at it on this time frame, I'm kind of glad that Nasdaq did this. I've seen this a lot on the buying side where it's like basically a bunch of traders just entered on the sell or maybe even on the buy. And the market just pulled back off of that candle. To me, it had no reason, no function to pull back off of this candle like that, but it did. You know what I'm saying? Giving you the deception that price is actually trying to sell, I mean, buy up from here. I just think that it's pulling back, so it's like don't like lose yourself seeing price pull back like this off of one candle, and it hasn't really showed you no like bullish activity. Right now, as far as we know, the momentum is to the downside, and this is the Nasdaq. I like that. I like seeing these candles. So that's something that I use to kind of breed a little bit more confidence in myself when it's like the market is acting like this. And let's be honest, we can all objectively say sometimes we don't know what the fuck is going on, right? So using now, unless the market is acting chaotic, this won't help. But as long as it's kind of like docile like this is giving you the visuals on measuring the momentum. You want to see moves where price doesn't really have like a wick on the opposite side. So just from this area over here, you see how price had a flat top. These are bearish candles. Price had a flat top. Each time that signified that the momentum should come down until it wants to pull back, which it did. And you see the candles are getting larger and larger, but you don't want to see something. It's not that bad, but anytime you see a wick off of a Hakanashi candle, that's telling you like the momentum is slowing down. So this one, I wouldn't really say that that's saying that the momentum's slowing down. But the less wicks you see and the more like flat tops you see, the better. And we're talking about this on the selling side, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously we're looking for sales. If this was a bull market that we were expecting, we would look the opposite. So you can see that this was a flat bottom each time, but the candles weren't that strong. So they don't really signify the momentum. They're just the correction that the market needed to do to come back and correct itself off of this move. So you see how price is like pushing down. You want to see this. And for a fact, even though the candle can still switch between bull and bear depending on like its reaction, when you're seeing one a strong candle like this, but also you're looking at the countdown and it's about to close. Whatever candle that was produced and it's something to this effect where you see like a flat top or a flat bottom, guaranteed that's going to be the next candle that opens. So I know as long as within this 11 minutes price stays like this and price action doesn't try to climb all the way back up to the open of the bear candle, price is going to continue pushing down. The next candle that's going to open up is going to be a bear candle that's going to continue pushing down. And again, just scale in, scale out. Obviously, you want to see like the bear candle close as such, but just know that when you're scaling in and scaling out, price action is going to look different. So price could come back up here because it's testing it on the 30-minute time frame as we just saw. Yeah, there's not much going on. Like I thought I thought we were gonna be like to the floor or some shit like that. But there's not really much going on, and it's the beginning of the year still. We're just now into March, and slow progress, but it's coming. It's coming. The move that we need to push the market down so we can start buying back up is definitely coming. Look at what this did on the opposite side. In orientation to the 9:45 a.m. candle. So all we did was mark that up and we're looking and we want eventually price to break below this and then maybe test into it again and then push away from it. But when I was showing it on the buying side, as you can see, look what price did. So the reason why I showed y'all the NASDAQ version was because you saw that price test that area multiple times. Over here, and I'm using this one as an example. This was the 945 candle that was made on Tuesday. Price broke up, and as you can see, price tested that area. So that was the fake out to, and I don't know why price is actually targeting the 945 candle. Like I said, that's something that we discovered, but it's crazy because price is targeting. So I identified this, it bought up. You see, it did a shallow test, and you can see that it tested into it again. So two times it tested into this market, and it basically did a fake out to the upside. But if you're looking for sales, you can tell that this is market structure. What I'm highlighting is that when price tested, well, outside of price testing it, it decided, man, this is no longer a buy zone, and I blew through that, right? So when I'm looking at this buy opportunity, I was thinking the same thing. So, okay, price tested this area, brought us up pretty high, brought us back down, did the test it back into this market, almost identical to this move right here. So my expectations was the next time we come down here, we're going to blow through this 945 candle. And then our next series should, if price is trying to pull back after it breaks down low, it should push us back up here in theory. And the reason why I say in theory, because of the momentum is strong to the downside, we ain't see it come back to any of these levels until it's ready to buy back again. So 10:30, we'll close this down. I do want to see what's going to continue happening, but now that we scaled out, price looks like exactly what I expected. Well, I wouldn't say what I expected to the T, but if you look, you measure this candle, you can see that based off the 4 hour, we tested 50% of this move currently. Well, it's not done yet because the 4 hour just opened, but the fact that price pulled back like that was a good sign to me. And again, if we scaled on a 15 minute, we can see that it pushed out a bull candle. And I think it'll be something similar to what time frame was this? I think this move looks identical. And this is what I'd be talking about when it comes to like identifying like patterns. What time frame was that? The 4 hour. Yeah, it was the 4 hour. So I think that move we just saw in the 15 minute will be something like this. You know what I'm saying? So we pushed up on the 4 hour. This was last night. So price, well, we pushed up 10 o'clock and then actually closed up here around 2 a.m. and then sold off London. Yeah. So we sold off London and you can see on the 15-minute time frame. Now everything's not going to be pattern based. I'm not saying everything is going to be similar, but I was already expecting um, bearish momentum. And again, for me, finding a lot more signs to say, yes, you're in the right direction. Because just because I identify a move and I start being in profit, I don't like walk away from the charts because I want to see that I can continue being in profit. Now, if you don't have the ability to do that, you may not, you know what I'm saying? You may have to walk away and then set your stop loss and things like that. But I have the ability to be able to gauge the market kind of throughout the day. So until I see the actual move that I'm looking for, I still analyze the charts even while I'm in it. So even if it is in profit, I still want to understand what's going on so I can see if the move is continuing. Maybe it presents another opportunity, but really I'm just making sure that the direction that I identify, it is fucking surefire. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we got 6 minutes until the 10:30 candle. Outside of indices, I was looking at cryptocurrency to come down. We talked about that last week. Really last week was like our major sign that we were expecting the market to come down. So I'm thinking the same thing. We might get one more push down for Bitcoin, possibly at 50K. Um, the lowest that I'm thinking is like 24K, but that'll be like a miracle if you ask me. Um, we just have to see how price is going to respond. It's been playing around in this zone, so cryptocurrency, like I said, doesn't really have any strong economic data. Everything is kind of technical analysis until the data gets poured into the market, which is unless you're paying attention to like these tokens like um, every day, like you probably are just relying solely on the technicals because cryptocurrency is still new. So based off the technicals, I am looking for like one more push down. I'm hoping we'll get into like 50K, but if we can get any lower, like I said, that'd be love. But that'd be like I said, overshooting because I don't know if we'll reach that low. But if we do, you better be prepared as an investor. What was I about to look at? Oh, the monthly candle. So the monthly candle is bullish again. We did show, well, no, it's been like this. So what I think that this monthly candle is doing, because again, everything still stems from technical analysis. So don't make this harder than what it needs to be. This is still overall market structure, even if we don't have enough information on like news when it comes to like cryptocurrency. So if you're looking at, and this is a higher time frame, so think about how the market functions on a higher time frame. This candle looks like it's only trying to test this candle because this was the move already until we want to come back and collect on the opposite side. So it just looks like for this month, we've already pulled back, which that's what it looks like. We've already pulled back to the necessary percentage that the market needed to test last month, which was, what are we in, March? Am I tripping? Yeah, we're in March, February. So it tested February and should continue to trend based off of what it looks like here. This should bring the market down even more. And like I said, if price is continuing, then yeah, it should like the next level should at least be like around 50K. And then we'll decide if there's buying opportunities from there. But like I said, I am shooting for lower than I am shooting for higher. But we'll kind of see that when we scale out, that just looks like market structure. So 50% would be in a line with what the high that was broke, right? So, and even if we did like a fib from the low point and a high point of where the market came from, that'd be in the territory of 618, which if you know 618 is like the gold zone. So yeah, I'll probably aim for that first, because our first target was 65K. And like I said, I wanted to make sure like to see if price, that was going to be our first area we were looking for buy options. Price to me now is showing us that yes, we look like we're going to go lower, and then we'll look for opportunities around 50K. But I do still recommend like you buying certain like small percentages at these levels because when the market comes back on the other side, you'll already be in these positions. You know what I'm saying? Don't go hard, go like small, and then if it goes lower, then yeah, go hard when it goes lower because if we get Bitcoin back at 24K, I'm not really focused on Bitcoin. I just see the power it holds, how it can influence these other crypto tokens out there, because some of these other crypto tokens have like utility purposes. Like, for example, I don't know if y'all know about the Project Neom that's going on in the Middle East at the edge of Saudi Arabia, but there's a possibility that the currency, the normal currency, could be cryptocurrency. You know what I'm saying? Like the normal use of currency would be like Ethereum, whatever they use. And some of these stable coins and tokens are at low prices. So to say that I can get like damn near over 1,000, which we know that in the stock market, that's good if you got over 1,000 shares at a low price because that's normally where you see a return from. So I would start diversifying my portfolio if I were you. And if you're not into crypto, I would definitely start using this year to maybe start studying and like paying attention more to the opportunities. Because again, the money of the world is definitely changing, and you don't want to be left out. If you ever seen the movie Elysium, that's how I feel like it's gonna be like when cryptocurrency really becomes like a staple in the economy. Like you're using it as like, hey, I'm buying bubble gum or food like on a regular with it. Like Elysium, they had like people that were in a spaceship. It was, yeah, they were in a spaceship, and all these people were rich and they didn't have any illnesses. And then on Earth, just on regular Earth or whatnot, everybody was basically poor. Everybody. If you were still on Earth, you were basically poor. So that's how I look at missing the opportunity for cryptocurrency. That might be a stretch, but hear me out, right? But is it 10:30? Yeah, it's 10:30 on the dot. Wow, that was good. Let me look at US 30 real quick. What I was looking for, like I said, we were doing this in orientation to the 945 candle. Obviously, price will still try to test this candle until it pushes away, but that's pretty much the writing on the wall. I mean, we were expecting bears in the market, and it looks like we're poking that motherfucker, right? But I'll catch you on the next video. I only wanted to do this real quick. I mean, let's be honest, trading is boring. So it's like going beyond like 30 minutes. It's like womp 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 womp. But I hope y'all making some money. We definitely making some money on our side. But I'll see you on the next video with Digital Goats Academy, which will be our weekly review and my community. You know where you guys will see me. So appreciate everybody that participated today and appreciate everybody that viewed me live on YouTube. Definitely make sure you hit that subscribe button if you gained any value today, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.